Yes! Yes, 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 yes! That was a goal! Goal! Striker! Eat that! And another! Bing bang, stick it in. Thank you and good night.
Twat! That was liquid football!
Shit! Did you see that? He must have a foot like a traction engine. Goal!
Hello, everybody. It's your old friends at Monday Madness, and welcome to this special Liquid Football podcast. As we are in World Cup moods, both positive and negative, it has to be said. It is always going to be controversial when it comes to a FIFA presentation, but we are getting our buzz going for the World Cup emanating from the US, Mexico, and Canada. Ireland didn't make it, but we're here still going to have the chats about it nonetheless. I'm being joined by Burpot and Aaron for the occasion as we are talking about the good, bad, and the ugly of the FIFA World Cup. We're going to spend the first half of our show talking about all the drama and incidents leading into the biggest football occasion of the year. And then after a little halftime game, we're going to go for what we think is going to happen in terms of the bracketology. We're going to have a go and see if we can suss out who we think is going to be the winner, the finalists, the dark horses, the upsets, and the absolute calamities for the tournament. And then signing off then with a couple of CODs where we are hoping will prove to be the case as the tournament goes on. There may be certain high-profile players and certain situations you may be expecting to see at the end of the show there. If you're watching on the YouTube version, you're going to be treated to a very special form of B-roll, as I have taken a 2002 World Cup alternative on Football Manager, where I'm going to try and see if I can do any better than Mick McCarthy and the boys, avoiding a Saipan situation, obviously, and see if I can do better than the round of 16 that we did where we got knocked out on penalties against Spain. So tune into that then if you're watching on YouTube. But otherwise, please enjoy this edition of the Liquid Football Podcast.
Goal!
Well, it's World Cup season, folks, as you may have guessed from every other football podcast that you listen to on your algorithm. So here's another one. And this one has far less production than the others, which means nothing, to be honest with you, because we're all going to be doing the exact same thing, which is complaining about how awful it's going to be. It is like by far and away the biggest World Cup that we're ever going to have in our lifetime until FIFA eventually expanded to 60 World Cup, 60 teams.
It would be until they actually said they're going to do what? What's the next one? 68?
68 in 6 different countries because they want to do like a centenary version that's in Uruguay/Paraguay. So that's going to work out well. What's the worst that could happen?
Which won't work out, and Ireland still won't fucking make it.
I mean, to be fair, the only way we're managing to qualify for a tournament is by hosting it. So that's something that we could do as a potential alternative. Maybe we can move the Aviva to downtown Madrid or something. We could do it that way. So again, it does seem kind of like it seems awful to say this about something like the World Cup, that it is still steeped in controversy, and all the controversy has nothing to do with the football, but seems to do with absolutely everything else around it. We thought that the whole kind of soft power initiative of the Russian World Cup, the very clear, let's have a World Cup on a military base energy of Qatar didn't seem to solve them either. So now we're just going to...
By the way, how has Qatar managed to come out of the last couple of World Cups looking like the only normal one?
I have a few thoughts on that. I think that's possibly because it's a Winter World Cup and we've now associated that World Cup final very close to Christmas in our heads. Mm-hmm. So one very nice part of the year coupled with another nice part of the year, plus the pandemic as well. So it's literally like the one of the last, the most it's almost like war is over type of event. The World Cup final has kind of beaten away the illness, but I don't think we can read too much into it. Funny enough, actually, a lot of the journalists that went to the Qatar World Cup have said logistically it was beautiful because everything was pretty much in walking distance or bike distance of a bus. So for the first time in their careers, they're able to catch 2 matches on a day. I think one journalist managed to get all 4, which is...
that's class.
It is
fucking brilliant, isn't it?
Compared to the logistical nightmare that's going to be this World Cup, yeah, you can kind of take your positives when you get them. As I said, every World Cup is different. They're all going to have their pros and cons. Although, and again, maybe you agree with me here on this one, Aaron, but like this is probably the first World Cup in a very, very long time where I think the hosts hold not only the sports but also the people taking part in it in complete and utter contempt. And not so much in
They don't
Mexico
even
and Canada, but the US in
yeah, like I
particular.
mean, you would forget it's in two other countries.
Yeah.
You'd completely forget that it's just three fucking things. You completely forget the Canada's involved in it, actually. But it, it's getting to the point where like they've banned a ref. He's not allowed in.
Yep. The
But
best referee in Africa is not been allowed in by customs because he's from
yeah,
Somalia.
which is absolutely nuts. Um, you have Iran who can't stay in the US longer than the match is on, so they've
Yep.
got to do a trip from Mexico to the US and back down again. That's
hmm
surely going to work out for them. Um, what else is there? The Congo had to isolate for 2 weeks beforehand
Because of an Ebola outbreak. Yeah.
because of an Ebola outbreak. Yeah, um, like you're getting to a point here where it's do you know the way when you're younger and when you start learning about all World Cups and you learn about like Argentina's one in the 70s
Yes.
under a dictatorship, and you learn about the one the Italians ran in 38. Was it
Mm.
36 or 38?
38
Where
would be.
basically it was kind of fixed for them to win it. I've
Yeah.
learned new things about that thanks to Finn versus History. The referees basically paid off, like not even slightly trying to say anything wrong with it.
Mm.
But this one is like you think you were kind of past that in a sense, in a way, like fine Qatar got it and stuff like that. But this does seem like that Trump is if Trump could do it, he would absolutely fix this whole tournament for the US to win.
Yeah, I think that's part of it as well. I think like as again, it's as we've had in various different conversations on various different platforms, there is no accountability in Trump's America, which kind of makes that
No.
every kind of business deal they do is out in the open and on show for everyone to see, which is why the kind of very outright really pathetic sycophantism that Infantino shows is almost somewhat more laughable than the majority of Trump's kind of like cohorts because what has Infantino got to gain from this in a sense? He's already got his World Cup, he's already got his tax breaks, he's already got his kind of like money from it. But it's like he wants more and more concessions, more and more money, more and more profit. And ultimately, as is often the case with a lot of these kind of like, people who suck the farts off dictators, they're just going to be like exposed for the kind of fools that they are. Because eventually this is all going to come home to roost. Like you were talking about all the controversies here, there is a genuine full Wikipedia article about about every single thing that's been going on about this World Cup. Um, like not even remotely starting with the most basic stuff like the climate, where as we learned from the Club World Cup matches, where it's like you may have matches that are gonna happen in about 32 to 39 degree heat, whether it be in the US or in Mexico. And the Mexican matches in
Like
particular are going to be
the
either
Meg
a valley of heat or they're going to be at high altitudes, which is
like as well, like even the last World Cup that was there was blistering hot. Like
yeah,
famously blistering hot for the Irish lads that were over there because they all came back looking like tomatoes.
exactly. And they also had done the same thing where like you weren't allowed bottled water at the venues. So the Irish lads found a loophole around, which was the bags of water, which is which is fucking tremendous.
Yeah.
But again, it's mad stuff like that. Then of course you got the stuff like the weather delays, which is another thing. So particularly in the Club World Cup, we had I think there was 4 games altogether that were stopped because of thunderstorms. And they are essentially happening in the same locations for the World Cup. Essentially, the Club World Cup was a dry run for this competition, which
Lovely.
I'll be honest is a good use of the Club World Cup if we're doing it that way for logistics. But again, it's an evidence of like they're just like there's going to be so much disruptions for this. Um, What's hilarious as well that the hydration breaks that are going to happen now at the World Cup are now going to be advertisements. They're Super Bowling this whole thing where like every stop and play is an ad break. So
Hmm.
the hydration break will be a chance to plug some more useless guff, which is gonna be great. And yeah, as actively they've said like this because of all the flights coming into the Americas, the extra teams going to take part in the competition. It is by far and away the worst tournament for the environment by a long, long way. Again,
Yeah,
give it four years, and
that's
when you force one group of teams to fly out to South America for one round of games and then to fly back to Spain just because of the hell of it, yeah, that's going to be quite
for the
incredible.
shits and giggles. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Now again,
uh,
the gas thing is that that's kind of the fun bit. Um, now we get to the sad bits, such as the United States very clearly racist immigration policy. So we've had multitude of countries that have not been allowed in because of
actually.
yeah.
Can we just before we go on to that? Can we
Mm,
also point out FIFA accidentally handing out 90 tickets for
yeah.
free and then canceling those tickets on people and going, well, you're gonna have to fucking pay for them.
Mm,
My guys, it's 90 fucking tickets. You'd make it all back on one front row seat to watch Messi play or Ronaldo play.
mm.
Get over it. Move on. That is another baffling aspect of this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, like they,
I'm
they they always
like,
say this, don't they? They always try and like they basically bequeath to the hosts like requirements for like tickets. So like the reason why they're doing the price gouging, it's like, oh, we have to take part in the price gouging because all American events are price gouges. It's like that's
yeah,
technically correct, but like, you don't have to say it outright like that. You could like,
yeah,
for instance, like FIFA have gone into during different World Cups and have made statutes and made laws. Like they've made the South African government actually pass laws that allows the sale of alcohol in stadiums, for example. And they forced Brazil to build like massive stadiums in the middle of nowhere just to piss off the Amazon in particular. So they've done stuff like this before where they've enacted a supremacy on the host nation compared to themselves suddenly now being really subservient to them. Like again, it's almost like it suits them to make money out of it. It's funny how that
mhm,
works. And but yeah, the ticket touting is absurd. The ticket prices themselves are absolutely disgraceful. And again, that's kind of par for the course really with the sort of stuff that's been happening in the US, particularly with just US events generally. That's not even like kind of like unusual in that sense. It's actually almost expected that you're gonna be ripped off for anything in the US. But I think what's more disgusting is not only you being gouged for your ticket price, but you're also being gouged for everything else. So the hotel prices
mhm.
are inflated. The public transport is not only inflated but also capped. And not only that, then, but in some parts of the US, it's been essentially made illegal to walk to the stadium because it's not safe. New Jersey is the one
Yeah.
like because it's essentially in the middle of a fucking parking lot and it's right by a highway, so you can't walk to it.
Um, it's actually not in the middle of okay, yes, it is. It's also basically sat upon toxic swamp,
Mm,
which is also mental.
yeah,
Um, I'm sure you haven't seen it, but there is a lot of talk about even just between European fans and American fans about like atmosphere and all this stuff. And it's like it's just not going to be the same
mm,
because a lot of US stadiums are actually open top.
yes, yeah, they're open
Some of
stadium.
them
Yeah,
aren't. Yeah, some of them aren't. Some of the football specific ones aren't. But as far as I'm aware, they're not doing any in Atlanta. Now, maybe
mm,
I'm wrong. Maybe there's one knocking to the side there, but I don't think there is. And I don't know if any more that have roofs because Atlanta's the only one that I know that has a roof.
mm.
So I, to be morbid, I think there's going to be a couple of deaths at this from heat exhaustion.
I, I didn't want to, I don't think that's even being morbid. I think it's being realistic because again, if it's not the heat stroke that's going to do it, it is the brutality of US police. It's the blatant kind of like
I know
discriminatory news stories.
I'm not even bringing that in because that's a given. I
Yeah,
just mean people are actually going to die during matches
yeah,
with the heat on them, and the fact they can't bring in bottled water, which again, What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening? Um, it's going to be a disaster. I think the only games that are going to be good are going to be the ones in Mexico at the start. I think they're the
Yeah.
only ones that are going to have a bit of something to them. It's going to feel like a World Cup, and the rest of them is going to be just John and Mary from
For Father
fuck
Ted.
America. Yeah, from fuck America, just joining in a game because they got free tickets because they live close to the stadium or something. Like it's going to be a touristy World Cup. There's going to be
Yeah.
no passion in it. The US are going to get knocked out early. The Mexicans might make the quarterfinal, but they've got to get over that voodoo that they have. The Canadians might do something. My dream scenario is the Iranians knock out the Americans. I
Which
don't
would
even
be
know if that's
wonderful.
possible.
That would be very, very funny for everyone involved.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
very funny.
Like,
Anyway, yeah, go ahead with what you were saying there.
no, it's I'm again. I'm kind of I'm scanning through all the kind of shenanigans along the way to this World Cup. We haven't even talked about the football. The football will follow. I can assure you. We'll actually start getting excited about the football in a minute. But just to kind of to drive home the fact that this is absolute nonsense. So because a lot of stuff has happened in the last few months, and again, it's a very Trump kind of like strategy of like just flooding the news cycle with bollocks, so it makes you forget about other bollocks that's happened already. So, so you've had like so, let alone we have ICE, who basically said that there's going to be no amnesty on kind of like football fans coming in. So again, they have literally said, when it's time for you to leave, you have to go home. Otherwise, you're getting detained, which is not fun. Like it was intended to be a joke, which is I think part of the problem. Like they thought that was
Yeah.
funny, which again further demonstrate that these people are mentally ill, if not worse. Um, and again, I'm kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt there when, let's be honest, they are just obsessively racist. So
Mm-hmm.
you've already had Amnesty International, you've already had Human Rights Watch, all already saying that this is gonna be worse than Qatar when it comes to the human rights. Not for the people involved that created the stadiums in Qatar was one thing, and the distinct lack of labor laws. American labor laws aren't the best themselves, I'll be honest. But you've also had the fact that
No,
like
they're
you've
not.
had actual tangible evidence that there's been uh can we call ICE domestic terrorists? I think we can. Actively
Not
stabbing
officially, but
dissidents.
yes, I guess
Yes.
we can. Yeah, yeah.
So
It's getting a bit dodgy there, Ari.
yeah. And again, all things have gone kind of relatively quiet, but I think that's also perhaps down to the news cycle just not capturing it anymore. And then you have the travel bans, which is just this utter absolute nonsense, considering the ban has captured several countries that have qualified for this World Cup, namely Haiti, which is like Trump's like kind of like trigger word essentially. Like he thinks all
Yeah.
evil comes from the island of Haiti. Iran, or if you're American, Iran, as in Iran so far away from all these stupid fucking laws. You've got Ivory Coast, you've got Senegal, and again, these is all going to apply to the Olympics that they're going to host in a year or two as well. So like, this is all absolutely
Oh my
ridiculous.
God, yeah, they got the Olympics as well. Fucking
California,
hell.
yeah,
Forgot about
exactly,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all going to happen as well. So not only that now, and again, they had everyone that was involved in terms of the athletic teams all had to apply for exemptions to this travel ban, and they all had to apply for visas, all this sort of stuff. And what's even funnier then is that they had to pay, or they had intended for everyone to pay a $15,000 visa bond requirement for the African countries that made it to the World Cup, namely Algeria, Cape Verde, Ivory Coast, Senegal, and Tunisia. And they had dropped it temporarily, and then they applied it back on again. So there's like literally like a 2 week window where like you were allowed to enter the country as a fan, and then they capped it up again, and they wanted to expand that visa bond to all the playing staff and everyone else. So as absurd as it sounds, Pico Lopez, who was born in fucking Crumlin, would have to pay $15,000 to get into the States, even though his wife, also born in Crumlin, is fine. Make that make sense? Uh,
Are you getting enough
yeah.
freedom, Matt?
Yeah, but again, this is all part of the rip-off aspect of it. So there was exemptions allowed for players and coaches in the end, but the fact that they had to fight for it is quite irritating.
Is
And
nuts. Like, I
yeah,
mean, really, like, we know Infantino doesn't care in
It-
reality. But
Yeah.
how FIFA themselves didn't just go, okay, right, let's all just calm down now for a second
Mm.
and be realistic here is nuts.
Yeah.
Like if you say what you want about Kamala Harris, she would have made that incredibly easy for everyone involved to get from point A to point B.
Mm. But
Like if
again,
we're
it's
being
also like
realistic here.
it's coming from a point of discrimination. That's ultimately what it is. Like the government, in particular America, is an extremely xenophobic one, and unfortunately, it leads into an institutional racism that has always been
Mhm.
in American culture. And unfortunately, like a lot of Americans will not like hearing that, but let's face it, a lot of your population are racist, and unfortunately, the government you have in right now is leaning into that and actively encouraging it. Um,
Mhm.
Further exemplified by what's happened to Iran, um, like actively picking a fight with Iran in global politics, shall we say, while the Iranian team is expected to perform on World Cup ground in America. Now, again, the absurd thing is this isn't the first time this has happened. This happened in the 1990 World Cup where Iran and America actually played each other. And everyone was expecting everything to kick off and everything was about to go hell for high water. The two teams went out to the pitch with flowers and they handed off to each other. And I think Iran won that game in the end. So it was everything was fine. But again,
Mhm.
everything is so agitated to up to a certain point, you
This is
know.
very much different. We're in a time now where they're in an active war with each other, and
Yeah.
one president is threatening to nuke them after murdering all the current leader's family.
Yeah.
So it's not really the same.
No.
And we're all like, obviously, nothing's going to happen, but something might happen.
Yeah. Again, this is, but again, as you said there, the amount of hoops that like Iran had been made to jump through just to actually get to America. And
Yeah.
again, they were probably I would say, broadly speaking, the last team to be actually guaranteed in this tournament, even though they had qualified very early on. Solely because they weren't guaranteed to be able to enter the US. In fact, it's pretty much been guaranteed that they're not going to be allowed to stay in the US, considering they've had to move their base of operations to Mexico, even though all their games are based in the US. So, as you said earlier
Hmm.
on, they will have to fly in for the match only, fly out for the match, and then go back to base in Mexico for all three games.
Do do
You
they
know,
even get to fly? I don't even think they get to
I
fly.
honestly,
They
I
have to
believe they
make.
do. Yes, I believe they do. But
Oh.
I again, it's essentially it's on the intention of like you go now, and possibly get tracked out of the
Oh.
country. We don't know. It's not particularly
But
pleasant.
the plus side for Iran, they don't have to partake in the gay game now. So
Well,
swings and roundabouts for Iran.
again, that in a way that's almost small for a comparative. That's just unfortunate, like in scheduling, isn't it? It's like it's like
They
damn it.
must be just going like, all right, lads, it's not. It hasn't been great. Okay, let's be real. Not ideal for any of us. But no, we don't have to see gay pride flag. So
Swings around a
I
bit.
mean, it could
Swings
be
around a
worse.
bit.
Swings
Yeah,
and roundabouts. Yeah.
yeah.
I keep
What's even
forgetting that they're already hearing our voices here, and none of my mannerisms are coming across.
no, I can. Yeah, yeah. You have to put like a swooshing
Yeah.
noise for your hands here. But but yeah.
Just
So
imagine
like,
the 6-7 thing when they're silent.
yeah, exactly. That's it. Exactly. But it's even what's even more absurd about it is because Iran had taken so long to be confirmed as an entrant into the World Cup, there was active alternatives being sought out in terms of who to be replace them. So going by the Confederation, the next team that would be allowed to to take part would be the United Arab Emirates. Again, bang of geopolitics off that. But
Yeah.
one of at least we forget one of Trump's lobbyists did suggest that maybe they should give the spot to Italy, even though they've been knocked out of the qualifiers by Bosnia. Solely
And the
because,
Italians went, piss off.
essentially, yeah, because there was a falling out between Trump and Meloni back like behind the scenes, and this lobbyist thought it'd be a great idea to offer a World Cup spot to Italy to kind of smooth things over. To which point the Italian Football Federation got, "How fucking dare you patronise us, you piece of shit," or whatever that is in Italian. I presume it's the same, but just a lot more
It's that thing
profanities.
where they
Yeah.
flick their hand off their chin. It's
which is
essentially that.
which is absolutely fair, absolutely fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything about just everything with Iran is has been absolutely terrible. As you said, the Pride match, which would have been Iran versus Egypt, is now not happening, which I suppose is a good thing in that sense. Again, let's not limit this to the US. Mexico has problems as well. There was a massive kind of unrest in Jalisco on the run up to this, where there was
Well, at
else
least with the
fighting each
Mexico
other.
one, though, that's more just them trying to make things safer for everyone involved,
Yes.
and it's not them going after fans. Now, I have heard that her it's a very interesting thing that Mexicans do with drug gangs over there.
Mm.
Most presidents have basically gone with the whole like just pay them off and appease them, and they kind of won't destroy too many things for us.
Yeah.
Whereas she's gone the complete opposite direction and said basically, fuck them, and has just decided to just, take them all out in a
Yeah,
way.
and now it should be said that this is not unusual as well. Something similar happened in South Africa and Brazil, where there was kind of conflicts earlier on, and before the kind of the whole kind of thing kind of had a chance to brew. So again, it's not something that is like say completely unheard of in the grand scheme of things, but it's
Mm.
still not fun on the run up to a tournament like this. And again, it's all the headlines, it's the optics of it all. And
Mm.
again, Canada only hosting essentially like about 10% of the tournament overall are there going like we are literally just the third wheels here in this equation. And
Yeah, nothing really's happening up in Canada.
yeah,
They're the most normal one of everyone there.
yeah.
There's no ice, there's no drug gangs, there's
Mm.
no
But he also has no
the
facilities.
president.
That's the one thing in fairness, because I even know, and if
Yeah,
Burpa was on, she'd tell you about the last time they hosted the Women's World Cup, and they weren't great to be honest, because they pretty much got the girls to play on Astro the entire time, and so they're not great on
ooh, that's not
facilities.
good.
But again, that's also because the Canadian league is football league is essentially non-existent. It's a semi-pro league. You have a
Yeah,
few
it's
franchises in the
not.
MLS, but that's about it. You know,
Yeah,
not
but
great.
it's getting better to be fair to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
this is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
second World Cup in a row. They're making moves.
Yeah.
And the mad thing is the reason that they're getting better is through a lot of immigrants coming
Yes.
into the country and them having kids and them not I'm not gonna make this racist by any means. A couple more black players in their squad who end
Mm.
up going to Europe and being absolutely shit fucking hot.
In fairness, I think a lot of Canadian football fans have said this is the best Canadian team they've ever had.
Yeah.
But again, that's also shows you how far away they've been, because they are still by far and
Hmm.
away the third of the home nations there. Like US probably have a
Yeah.
decent chance of getting through. Same with Mexico. We're gonna go through the groups anyway before we after we have our little moan here about how shit this World Cup is going to be. You mentioned ticket prices earlier on. We've had that already. We've had the discussion about the dynamic pricing and how essentially everyone has been priced out of it. To his credit, Zoran Mandani, the mayor of New York, has tried to campaign to go away from the dynamic pricing model, and unfortunately that has not worked. But he has found a kind of
Mm.
few little kind of like there's a few little workarounds in terms of the public transport and the infrastructure in New York to allow for football fans, because he himself is a football fan, in fairness to him. So he
Yes.
actually wants us to go fairly well for at least New York, which is
and
hilarious
and
because
he
he's been threatened by the by the US state to play ball, or else we're gonna drop ice in your city again,
mhm.
which is fucking
And to be
absurd.
fair, he's also managed to pick a complete outsider to win it. He's gone with not a complete outsider. He's gone with Morocco to
Yes.
win it, which for football that would be fantastic to finally have an African nation win it.
Yep.
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll go as far as they did the last time. But again, we'll get into that later on.
Well, in fairness, Morocco. Again, I've heard this conversation whether they're actually dark horses or just actual horses now, and I'm putting them in the actual horses camp, Aaron, and we'll come back to that as
Mm,
to why. Because it ties into the next World Cup in 2030, as we were talking about it. So, and yeah, as I said, like a lot of the actual American players and the coach himself have been highly critical of FIFA's approach and the ticket gouging. Timothy Weah himself are saying that the tickets have been too expensive. And again, just the overall kind of vapidness of it all. Don't forget, guys, we have a halftime show for the final, and don't worry, but Madonna's going to be there. And just calm down, everyone stay in your seats here, because she's not the only act. There will be more, and you will be forced to watch them. Um, but yeah, and as I said, we've had the stuff with the stadium access, not being allowed to bring bottled water, which was U-turned and then reasserted earlier on. The Kansas City Stadium. is now going to have a temporary expansion just for one match. The one match where they have where they're hosting Argentina, just because there's going to be more people to watch Lionel Messi, which further demonstrates the MLS is literally just a cook league for him and no one else. Which
He
for everything
not to
looks,
get
yeah.
not to get into it too much. I think they kind of expected Messi's joining there to be the next level after Beckham,
Mm.
and it hasn't really worked out that way.
No, it really hasn't.
It
And
hasn't
yeah,
got it hasn't gone to the point of like, because I vividly remember Beckham joining the MLS. It was groundbreaking when he did it, because he was not a slouch when he left
Mhm.
Madrid. He had to fight to get back into the squad, and he ended up winning the league with them.
Yeah.
This Messi one just isn't doing it, I think, as much as they would have hoped. Like, he's doing fine. He's
Hmm.
still scoring. He's not like, his legs aren't completely gone. But the interest, there's been more of an interest in Saudi with Ronaldo than there has been with Messi in the MLS.
Yeah, I think that's America overall though as well. I mean, like there's
Yeah.
like the American fever has not really caught football in the same way that they would have hoped to at the start of this whole kind of experiment of this whole World Cup. Like for us, I suppose like USA 94, there was a kind of a misses there was something kind of absurd about it in a sense because like mid 90s
Mm,
US America is a weird and wonderful time travel when you're looking back on it now, where everything
mm.
just looks a little bit off, a little bit weird. Um, Whereas again, I suppose this also kind of comes back to like us being like a little bit older and a bit more aware of how the sausage is made, and now you suddenly see in this cold like in the cold light of day that 2026 USA is not a fun place to be, and now
No.
forcing 48 teams to play what is meant to be the people's game in a tournament where it's being dragged away from the people kicking and screaming
That
is not
that
great.
is the big difference as well, right? The last World Cup that was there was right bang in the middle of a Clinton administration, right?
Yes.
Not to get crude about it. He was fucking. The economy was doing great. Um, Probably shouldn't have attached with that intern. She probably shouldn't have been blamed for it. Who cares? Everything was going great.
Mm.
Fast forward 30 years, and if you've got the wrong color skin, well, then you're going into a detention camp for the next 6 months, and you might be left out. You also might die here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, there will be people that will go missing at this
Oh
tournament,
God, yeah.
and
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
and like I said, it's not going to be fans, it's going to be club officials, it's going to be players, it's going to be coaches, and there is going to be absolutely no accountability for it. And I think that's the most frustrating thing about it. Um, but look, what else? It is a football tournament. We are football fans. The World Cup fever is still going to take us over. So let's get into it at this point. Now that we've had our kind of we've vented, we've purged, we've had our little confessional box, we can kind of get talking to the football bit. So the football itself is the S word is banned for this podcast, Kira. We don't say the S word in this house.
No, I just wanted to trigger you.
How dare you? Um, I sincerely
What's the
hope
S
Zoom
word?
cut you out on the audio for for using that heinous word in this house. Um,
What's the S word? What's happening here? What's going
I-
on?
Soccer.
I didn't get that at all. She kind of caught up.
okay,
just
Zoom is
enough for
helping
me
us
not
out
to
there.
get
He didn't hear it.
Soccer.
Oh, right. Soccer. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Mm.
right. That's, yeah. I would be calling it soccer from now on, just to piss off Jonathan.
Well, Aaron, it was great doing the podcast with you. I will. We're going to end the podcast here. early.
He just had mute power. Actually. And then he also has editing issues.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah. So let us talk about the football now at this point.
Play with the ball at our feet.
Yes, exactly. So let's get into it. I think we can probably say for certain that the football is probably not going to be of the best quality if the training videos and the
Not,
friendlies and the pitches are
not
anything.
early on anyway. It's gonna take. It's gonna. I think it's not gonna really get some juice going to probably the quarterfinals. To be honest.
Mm. It doesn't help that the group stages have no real fizz in them because of the fact that there's a lot more weaker teams in the tournament now. Like I said, it's not the 48 best teams; it's the 48 teams that qualify from all confederations, which is again, it sucks for us because let's be honest, we probably beat Qatar, who are in this World Cup, and we would have like had a. And Qatar, I think, are technically a pot three or pot four team in this tournament. So
B, they're in Group B as well. So if
yeah,
let's say we did take over from Qatar,
actually, yeah, they were actually
for
were pot
argument's
three
sake,
actually in this because Bosnia would have been the
yeah,
pot four team. Yeah, so that
yeah.
is an
So like
indication of
if we
the
made
quality.
it, like if we made it, let's say we replaced Qatar,
Mm.
for argument's sake, we would have been in the group with Canada, Bosnia, and Switzerland. That
Yeah.
would have been a very doable group to get out of.
Well, even, in fact, even the group that we would have got into had Czechia not broken our hearts. Sorry, Alan Brown not broken our hearts. Very important to self blame as an Irishman. Um, even the group that we're in was actually quite reasonable for a World Cup group because, again, comparative to all the other World Cups we've been in, where we didn't really stand a fucking chance, and that we did actually literally have to go route one just to survive. And like there actually is a distinct possibility we could have played some football against South Africa and maybe a bit against South Korea. And Mexico, we would have got our
Yeah,
absolute
I
arses
mean,
handed to us, but however.
oh, we would have, yeah, but
Yeah,
you know, it would have been three, and there's also three spots from that group to go into the second round.
yeah,
I think we would have made it out of that group.
yeah. I think so. I think so. So what are you looking out for in this tournament, Aaron, in terms of actual football? What teams are catching your eye? What players are you looking for? And we kind of do a bit more of a formal kind of like here's what I'm looking out for. But overall themes, what's catching your eye
I
leading up to this?
I think my biggest dark horse is Portugal. Mainly just
Interesting.
down to the fact that if you're just going to put it on paper, that is arguably the best Portugal side ever at a World Cup,
Okay.
excluding Ronaldo. Because I know this team is really just at the whims of a man child. As much as I love Ronaldo,
Hmm.
it is just at the whims of a man child. Um, Between Silva and Fernandez and like all the players that they have, it could be a breakout tournament for Bruno Fernandez, and he cement himself as being the best attacking midfielder on the planet if he even just manages to bang a couple of assists in this one and not play bad.
Hmm.
Um, I think Brazil have a good shout in it because of Ancelotti. Morocco was another one that we talked about earlier. Don't see the Germans doing well. I don't know why. There's nothing for them. Maybe the Belgians, but again, they seem to have this thing over them where they get to a tournament and they just shit the bed. I think the French have a really good chance of getting through again. That would be a fun one if they manage to win it again. Spain. I know I'm knocking around all the big names there, but Spain are also a really good shout.
Okay.
And I think then the biggest issue for all of us as Irish people is, oh shit, do England do it this time? We obviously don't want them to do
Dun
it.
dun dun.
He has said it, therefore it's possible. No, do you know
Yeah.
what? I got timely introduction for you, Burkbot, because that means you have to talk about England. So off you pop, have fun.
No, look, they have a superstar striker who's in form. So that's pretty much the number one thing you need going into a cup competition is someone who can put the ball into the back of the net without you having to do all the build-up play, without in a cup, like it's all about putting the ball in the back of the net. And Kane is arguably the most informed striker on the planet, so therefore you'd think he's got the best chance of I do think it's going to be dragging England through this competition because they do have a solid team. I don't think they're World Cup winners in that squad, but apart from Kane, I think he's the one shining light in that team, and that actually has bile coming up in my throat as I say this. But yeah, look, they've got a good manager who actually understands tactics, who can put a game plan in place. He can adapt his squad, and it's just a case of can they actually do it match by match? And I do think they have the squad to do it. So yeah, that would be. I do think like they have to be up there as favorites. I have not looked. I'm the worst prepared for this podcast, by the way. I do not know. I don't think I could name 50% of the teams in this World Cup. I definitely couldn't point them out on a map.
It's why you don't teach geography.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to
but-
say that. I was like, I don't, isn't your job like teaching people stuff?
No, not that. That's someone else's work. But no, I agree with all the kind of the big names there. I'll throw in like I think people are gonna think Norway have a chance because again, you look at Haaland. I'm saying Haaland isn't a top four, like the number one striker on the planet, which could probably have knives out for me. But yeah, I just think like as a squad, England have a better squad than Norway in that case, and I think
Yeah.
Kane would do better with leading the line like that. So
It's a fair point to raise with Norway because I think a lot of people are being taken in with the whole Haaland, and let's be fair, let's throw an Odegaard into that as well. You know, when you have a front line that good, if you're Norway, it's kind of easy to get kind of swept away with the possibility that there might be a dark horses in this. But the World Cup doesn't
Yeah,
really work that way because you need
I
seeding.
wouldn't.
too.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Norway. They might go a bit fair.
Yeah,
They're a pure quarterfinal team that eventually ends up going against like Brazil or one of the bigger sides and ends up losing.
yeah.
But you could
But-
absolutely see them getting as far as the quarterfinal because like, at the end of the day, they do have Haaland, they do have that lad that plays with Arsenal.
Yes, Odegaard.
And
Your guy.
I specifically didn't want to say his name. But they do got some good players inside there. But it's just like they'll probably do fine.
Yeah.
Haaland will probably be the one that will like drag them to out of the group and maybe past the first round of the knockouts, but not one that could like he's not good enough to like win it for them. Unlike Kane is for England. Do you know what I mean? Because there's so much more talent around Kane in the England side than there is with Haaland in the Norway side. So
Well, that's the
Norway I
interesting
see
thing, yeah.
getting to the quarterfinals, but I don't see them getting any further than that.
Yeah.
And if they do, it'll be insane. It'll be like mental.
Yeah, well, that's the funniest thing there with the Norway setup is that, and again, you hear this from a lot of Norwegian football journalists that Haaland isn't actually the danger man of the national team, and in the same way that a lot of like teams like this is the stick that's been used to beat Mbappe with is the fact that he's so immobile and he won't do any defensive work. Haaland is kind of like that for Norway in the sense that he is just there to score goals. Like you get the ball to him in a certain point and he'll score it, but because he's not as mobile as some of the other forwards out there, it's actually Oscar Bob who's the real centerpiece of the team, and that's kind of mental to say that in the sense that like he's now like left City to become like a kind of like a blue chip player of Fulham, but in the national team setup, he's the guy that does all the knit work. So it is entirely possible, and it sounds stupid to say this, that Haaland might not necessarily start these games because it might be Soroff and Strand Larsen up front, Bob behind, and Odegaard playmaking. That sounds mental, I know, but that could very well be the way Norway set up to start off the competition.
I could probably see them not using Haaland a lot in the group games, especially who are they in a group with?
They're in Senegal, France, and Iraq. We're going to do bracketology in the second half of the show, so you'll see the groups.
Yeah, so you can imagine they probably won't play them against Senegal and Iraq, but you could probably see them playing against France.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so and there's only two going out of that group as well, so I could definitely see them doing that.
Okay.
And saving Haaland to be fresher getting into the knockout stages and stuff like that.
So before we move to the second half of our show then, let's pick out one team for all of us that we would like to do well and one we are actively hate watching just for a bit of crack. So you kind of mentioned Portugal there. Is Portugal your kind of team that you kind of want, you're willing into existence to do well, or
okay? Can I go with like a serious option and then just a funny one?
Oh, this is all banter. This is not a serious.
Oh, right, that's great.
We're doing serious stuff in the second half. This is just the one.
I'll partly go with a serious one here. I do want Portugal to do well. I do want Portugal to do well because I want Bruno Fernandes to do well. Sure. Because there's a lot of all these assists this year, 21 assists, and people are still like, oh, but he's not really that good and he doesn't win anything. If he manages to, like, him and a couple of other ones in that team manage to drag them to a semi-final, it'll shut people up. Especially if he can manage to get a couple of assists there along the way. And my funny option is the longer Bosnia stay in it, the more I get to hear that song.
That song is gonna be sung in every stadium they're allowed into. Like it's
amazing.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a proper tune.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And again, they have a decent chance. They're in a good group. They could very well do it. Like this is the bad thing.
I mean, they could. Again, it's one of those groups that's got three coming out of it.
Yeah.
I see Qatar bottom in that group, and them, Switzerland, and Canada going through.
Yep,
Eh,
yep, it's very possible. It's very, very possible. Burpa, how about yourself? What teams would you like? Are you willing into existence here for this World Cup?
I genuinely cannot wait to watch Scotland. Um,
Scotland's a good one. That's intriguing, isn't it? Because they have such a hoodoo over them in the World Cup. They always
Mhm.
shit can it in the World Cup.
But like you look at that squad, and generally, like this is their best chance in years that they have. They keep Kieran Tierney fit. Scott McTominay, like he's doing bits at the minute. I think they're gonna play the football we wish we could play.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm just gonna go for our Celtic brethren, and hopefully they'll do the Celtic archipelago well.
Yep, the Celtipelago, perhaps.
Mm.
Yeah. I've got to. I've got to. I haven't got. I've Part of me wants Cape Verde to get to the next round,
Yeah.
just so that Rovers can get another 30 grand out of FIFA. Uh, for being perfectly, if I'm being cynical about it, like absolutely, we want all the money. Um, but no, in all seriousness, Morocco was mentioned earlier in the podcast because that's Zomra Mandani's pick to win the World Cup altogether. Um, and genuinely, when you look at the team, like players wise, it is actually genuinely a very shrewd choice. Because they're in a reasonable group with Scotland. They're also, in terms of pairings, which we'll get to shortly, they don't have the most like ridiculous route to the World Cup. They are on, you could say, the kind of harder side of it if you're being kind of technical about it. But a lot of people kind of say they overperformed at the Qatar World Cup, but ultimately if you read about what's going on in Morocco in terms of they have a huge, massive football project happening over there in preparation for the World Cup in 2030. They basically want to build a super team that will win the World Cup in 2030 and become the first African team to do so. And it's no coincidence in the sense that they have like they've built on kind of players that have gone before. And Nesri, not the best example because we know the stuff about him at the moment, but the players that are going to recover, where like someone like Ashraf Hakimi now is a peak player at the moment and will still be a good player by the time 2030 comes around. But not only have they been able to develop players in Morocco through without Casablanca and some world class youth academies, but they've also been able to declare players very very early. So Bilal El Khanous was the one who I believe could have been declared for Norway, perhaps, or Belgium, sorry. And then Brahim Diaz is a classic one as well, who came through the Real Madrid system and got declared very early for Morocco. And the newest one then is Ayab Bouadi, who is one of the best talents in the world. And he's already been declared for Morocco. He's in the squad. He is going to be a star player for them. And of course, Sofiane Amrabat is still there, so that we can still see him like knocking lumps out of world class players whenever that suits. Um,
mhm.
Also, I learned today, Issa Diop from formerly of West Ham and now currently Fulham, now declared from Morocco as well, which is a
Oh,
yeah. There you go. So again, so they've been much like a lot of the African countries doing very wisely declaring players, to build up that kind of like national pool. So we'll see how that goes for them. I do genuinely think they are no longer dark horses. They are generally someone to be considered for the quarterfinals. They are themselves in Senegal. They were rightfully the finalists for the African Cup of Nations, and I think can be generally seen as like two serious teams for the tournament. Um, One team I'm going to throw out as well, um, for fear of their hoodoo happening again, as it always does, is Turkey. Um, Turkey is always one of those teams where you look at the squad, and you look at the players, you look at like whatever kind of setup they have, and you're thinking these lads shouldn't make it to the quarterfinals or semifinals, and they always seem to conspire in some way to not do it. But again,
they
they're in
haven't
a
done a good job really since 2002. Really, that was
2002,
the
yeah,
last time they did it. Yeah, that was
yeah.
the last time they really did anything good in the World Cup. Yeah.
But generationally, they have one of those squads back now. Like they have like in the same way that like in 2002 they had the likes of Hakan Şükür and Rushdu, like being the centerpieces of that team. They now have that back, but it's all in different places. So Yilmaz is their kind of is the biggest kind of star going. Arda Güler is kind of the heir apparent to like a lot of the kind of European elite teams. And then all over, like just spotted around the squad are like proper good professional players, all playing in the Turkish league as well, which I think is an advantage in a sense that not everyone's kind of like scattered around the place. So they're all pretty much situated in either the Turkish league or the Saudi league or maybe Serie A. So they're all kind of in the realm. So and again, they're in a very simple group. Like they're in with the States, they're in with Australia, Paraguay. They should top that group in my opinion. But again, I'm sure they'll find some
Yeah.
way to fuck it up. I'm sure, but at least for the moment, I'm allowed to dream that Turkey might actually do something with what they have. I'm also a little bit of a secret Colombia fan this year. Not to say, and that's might be euphemism for that I've taken up cocaine. No, I actually do think that this Colombian
I
team
was
is actually.
I was about to say it's like there's some great shit coming out of Colombia at the moment. So I think they're going to do well.
I got this guy called Luis Diaz. Oh, fucking. Just want more of him. No, in all seriousness, like, again, much like you were saying about Harry Kane or Ron Burkbot, that burn effect on Luis Diaz has really, really helped him. He's become a better player as a result, and I think that's just going to come out in the wash for the World Cup this year. So I have high hopes. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I suppose with all this talk about world class teams, that switches us to a little refreshing game of Winning 11.
Oh gosh.
This is Burkbot's favorite game. She loves it. She loves nothing more than talking about winning 11 teams that she all remembers. She has an entire like little scrapbook of teams that have won things all across the years. So naturally, we get to quiz her on this today. When she's fully prepared, fully researched for this World Cup nonsense. Isn't that right, Burkbot?
Yeah. I literally just have a list of teams in front of me. And what the hell is a curacao?
What the hell is Kwanzaa? I agree.
Who were they managed by again? What was the manager?
Dig
Advocat.
Dig Advocat, yeah, of course, yeah.
Who's not there, but still is technically their head coach.
Yeah, he's technically the head
yeah.
coach, yeah. So, yeah. So Winning 11, if you're not sure, if you're not familiar with this, if you're listening to this for the first time, is a little halftime game that we do where I pick a literal Winning 11 from any given game in the past. I will anonymize the players on the field, and I get my co-host here to guess the Winning 11 and see who wins out amongst the right answers. So, the clue this one, I know I didn't make up. We were a little bit short term with the cliff notes here for this one, but the clue for this one is a bisht. If you remember what a bisht is, if not, don't worry about it because this is perhaps one of the more recent Winning 11s I've done. Who remembers the last World Cup in Qatar?
I watched every single game, and the only one I remember off the top of my head, it's still stuck in my head. Wales versus Iran, which is the best game of that tournament by a goddamn mile.
That's where you know you're a real sicko if you're saying Wales, Iran. Oh, that's it.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was the last 10 minutes of that was the most fun I ever had watching football. Wales went out and Iran just hockeyed them off the pitch in the last 10 minutes. And there was another 10 minutes extra time. It was brilliant.
Fair enough. Well, can I cast your mind back perhaps to the actual World Cup final itself?
Yes.
No.
We all watched it together. We were all there. Yeah. Yes. So,
was I there?
You were there, yes.
Yeah, you were. That silence was lovely.
Let's assume that you were there until otherwise proven wrong. But nevertheless, I am going to get you all to guess the winning 11 of the 2022 World Cup final. The Argentina team that won the whole lot. 3-3
Argentina won it. Okay, right. Well, that helps.
I remember a lot from this. I feel like There's a very obvious answer to be picking as number one.
Yes,
Okay, well,
And
can
that's-
I go? Can I jump in with Martinez in goal?
you can indeed. You can indeed. And then Martinez did indeed start the game in goal, no less.
And that's the end of my knowledge here.
Right. So anyway, Burke ball's off the mark anyway. Moral of the story. So how about yourself, Aaron?
I'm just going to not go with the almost obvious answer and just be fun about it. Angel Di Maria did start that game as far as I remember.
Yes, he did.
Big rat-headed
Yep, he
fuck.
did. He did indeed. Di Maria did start the game, so you're off the mark as well. Back to Burke ball.
I'm gonna go with Otamendi.
Nicholas Otamendi did start the game in the heart of the defence.
You're okay. I did remember that one. Woohoo!
Well done. Good stuff. Back to you, Aaron.
Martinez. Lisandro Martinez. I'm sure started that one as well.
Lisandro Martinez
He did
not feature in this
anytime
game at
you
all.
anytime you fucking pause, I know I fucking dick.
So, Aaron, you've already lost. If Burpa can stick the landing, she will win this round of
shit.
winning 11.
Oh
You
my
have to
god,
get-
Aaron.
You just have to get two players right, and you win this round of winning 11.
Okay, I'm going to say Lionel Messi.
Yes, Lionel Messi did feature in this game. Let's see how many you can get right now. So we'll keep you going until you get one wrong. So Lionel Messi, one more and you win.
Sergio Romero.
Sergio Romero did partner Nicholas Otamendi in the heart of the defence.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, Lisandro Martinez was an unused sub in that game, Aaron, I'm afraid. But Sergio Romero was and is still somehow a World Cup winner. So, Burbot, you're up for bonus points here. Feel free. What other names do you think
shit.
started that match?
Aaron, this is a joke that I've won this. What the
I
fuck?
should have just. I don't know why I just didn't pick the obvious one. I was trying to be a smart ass and not pick the easy option.
Yeah.
I should have went with
You got
Alvarez.
fucking cocky. That's what that was.
I got
you played
cocky. I
yourself.
should have remembered. I should have went with Alex McAllister or Alvarez
Yeah.
or Dybala or fucking Gomez.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got to go McAllister anyway.
Yeah, so Alexis McAllister did start the game, yeah, in the heart of the midfield. A lot of people kind of credit him to be the secret sauce in that Argentina team that won the World Cup.
Dybala.
Pablo Dybala did not start the game, however, he was a
Oh.
sub.
Okay.
So he was a sub
Still
in that
in.
game. So he's actually the first sub in the game, no less. He's replaced one of the players not named yet.
Almeida?
Thiago Almeida not featured in this game,
Okay.
I'm afraid. So your streak is over, I'm afraid.
Okay. Well,
Will be
look,
hard
it
luck.
was a better run than it should have been.
No, in fairness, it was very well done considering the game was 4 years ago and we were all hammered on alcohol and pizza. So I shall fill in the blanks.
Genuinely have
you.
no recollection. Where, if
How
pizza's
would you-
involved, I'm already
okay.
aware.
Right. Let's just for a quick second. It was the greatest final in the history of football. It had probably one of the most magnificent saves I've ever seen on a football pitch to save Messi's World Cup.
Mm.
How do you not remember this? It had an Mbappe hat trick.
It was probably the best World Cup final they've had since maybe probably 2006 is the Zidane headbutt. That was 2010, wasn't it?
It's the most. It's the most. There's a really good reason why I know it's 2006. So I know that was that one. But
Actually,
yes, it was probably.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. But can I pick another one? Seeing as it's
You know what,
already gone,
let's fill in the blank. So we'll start at left back. Who was everyone's pick at left back?
I don't know.
Palacios.
Palacios.
Back?
Palacios did not play. He's actually a defensive midfielder, but the actual left back was Nicholas Tagliafico.
That's not an Argentinian name. That's not an Argentinian name at all.
Well, I'm sorry about you, but it is. And he is still their first choice left back. Would you believe? I think he's playing out in Lyon now at the moment. The right back, I think, was the one that I think was going to catch everyone out. With the correct answer was Nahel Molina, who was playing for Boca Juniors at the time. And the reason why I thought people was going to get caught out for it because he started the game but didn't finish it. It was actually Gonzalo Montiel who finished the game. Um, and the reason why he's noteworthy is because he scored the winning penalty to win Argentina the World Cup in the end.
Oh.
So that's why I thought that was going to
Okay.
catch people out there. The two midfielders, I thought maybe you guys would get these ones. So I think let's just have a pop at these two midfielders. Who do you think started the game for Argentina?
Lautaro Martinez?
Lautaro Martinez was a sub in the game, I'm afraid.
Alvarez?
Julian Alvarez did start. Yeah, he did. He led the line up to a certain point. But the two
Enzo
midfielders.
Fernandez? Enzo Fernandez
Enzo
played. 'Cause
Fernandez.
That was
Yeah.
yeah, because he played so well. He got the transfer to Benfica, which then made Chelsea pay 106 fucking million for him.
He was at Benfica at the time, and then Chelsea went in for him after the World Cup. So there's only one player
Yeah,
left now
that was what it was.
in your starting 11 that you're missing.
Papa Gomez?
Papu Gomez? No, actually. No.
Foyt?
Say again?
Foyt?
John Foyth? No, Juan Foyth did not feature in this game either.
I feel like it's either going to be Rodrigo de Paul or Palacios. I feel like it's one of them.
It's not Palacios. It was, in fact, Rodrigo de Paul, who was famously known as Messi's bodyguard for the entire World Cup and since, considering he's followed him to Inter Miami. So, yeah, it was actually Rodrigo Paul that started off that game as well. The other substitutions you could have had, and again, this is all kinds of fucked up. So, Paulo Dybala was the first sub, and he went off for Tagliafico, who I believe was injured, if I'm not mistaken. German Pisella, who was one of the other right backs in the team, did come on as well for Alexander McAllister. Funny enough, so there was a real rejig in the setup. Lautaro Martinez came on. I think that's maybe where you got confused, Aaron, because there is.
I remember the Martinez being on, but I did actually genuinely think that Lisandro actually at least played that game.
Yeah.
I did think he actually even had it in parents, but obviously not.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. So yeah, Lautaro Martinez came on for Alvarez before extra time. Then we would had Leandro Paredes come on as well in that game for Rodrigo de Paul, just a backup in midfield. Gonzalo Montiel, we mentioned already, he replaced Molina at right back and ultimately scored the winning penalty. Marcus Acuna then came in for Tagliafico and was the last sub. This is the first time they did the 5 subs and then the bonus sub for extra time because of the heat exhaustion, and that came in from the pandemic as well. So they've kept those changes in since. So well done, Burkbot. Despite not remembering this match at all, you winning 11 this week.
I'd like to thank my 2 remaining brain cells
for retaining some level of information and capitalizing on Aaron's hubris.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay then. So let's get back to talk about the World Cup then. So I thought we'll do something a little bit fun here because there is some bracketology that we can do. Likely we won't keep this in the edit, but this is only for our visual aid here. But I do actually there is bracketology available for us to play around with here. So we're going to do this really quick fire because group stages, as we said, are pretty much useless. So we're going to try and fantasy book. So this is not let's go with what we would like as opposed to what we think is going to happen. Okay, let's make a World Cup based on vibes here. Okay, so we'll start off with Group A, which starts off with Mexico, of course, as the hosts. Let's be honest, probably the strongest of the 3 host nations when it comes to quality and player strength. They are in a group then with South Korea, still led by Heung-min Son and Kim Min-jae of LAFC and Bayern Munich, respectively. We have South Africa, who did qualify by merit in the Africa Cup of Nations at the expense of Nigeria, which was a big loss for the African Confederations. Nigeria have just been a basket case the last few months, and it has shown, unfortunately. And of course, Czechia that got in because Alan Brown couldn't take a penalty. But of course, to Czechia's credit, they were able to mug off Denmark on the run up to this as well. So they are very much there by merit. Again, it's a very reasonable group for a host nation, it has to be said. So, obviously, the way this whole thing works out is that the third place teams, about 8 out of the 12, will go through to the next round. So what we have to do is we basically have to put these groups in kind of like in date order where we think we are, and then when we get to the third place, we'll tick off the 8 that we think will go through. Again,
And it's weird as well because it's not like it's like it's a weird setup for who actually gets in it.
Yeah,
Like
it's
some
basically
groups
there's going
you
to be like a
think
mini league of the third place teams, and then like number one will face, say, the weakest of the second place teams and stuff like that. It's a very odd permutation. They need to do a better job of this in the next World Cup, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see how we get on anyway. So, what do we think? What order do we think the Group A will finish up in? We'll start with you, Aaron. What do you think?
honestly, the way it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Mexico
I don't
top.
see it
Korea
switching
second.
at all.
Yeah. Go on. Okay. Happy days. Let's go then to Group B, which has the host nations, Canada, in Group B, along with Switzerland, perennial World Cup team that like still has the likes of Ricardo Rodriguez, Granit Xhaka et al. No Xherdan Shaqiri this time, unfortunately, he has retired. No Jan Sommer, I'm afraid. And so Brian Kerr will be weeping into his pat scarf, knowing that Shaqiri, the barreler, is nowhere near to be seen. Um, we have, of course, Bosnia, who again are there by vibes, and a 40-year-old Edin Dzeko, and a world-class talent in Alaj Begovic, I believe his name is, who is in the Red Bull Salzburg team at the moment and is destined for great things. So let's keep an eye on him for that competition. And then we have Qatar, who managed to lose 1-0 to a 10-man Ireland during the week. So not great. So so what do we think then for Group B? Burtball. B for Burtball. What do you think for this one?
I think Switzerland top, Bosnia second, Canada third.
That's a good one. That throws a spanner into the works for Canada, all right. But yeah, do you know what? Fair play. Bosnia's there by merit. In fairness, any team that beats Italy deserves a good run in the World Cup.
That's it.
So next up then is Group C. This one's a tasty one. We've got Brazil, obviously managed by Carlo Ancelotti and populated by about 7 strikers. We have Morocco, as you mentioned before. One of my kind of hopes that we might get a surprise package in the last 4. And then we have Scotland, which Burt, you're hoping for as well. And of course Haiti, who will be hopefully trying to do well in the American World Cup, just despite Donald Trump before he dies, which is one thing we can only hope for. So Aaron, well, you can take this one. What order do you think that group is going to go into?
I'm gonna be boring again.
As is?
Way it is now.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think Haiti gets through. I think that's where Scotland will pick up their points. They might pick a draw off from Morocco. They're definitely losing to the Brazilians.
Yeah.
Morocco again would probably batter Haiti, lose the Brazilians, and draw Scotland, and Brazil will batter all of them.
Yep. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Move on then to Group D, and this is where the I suppose the bulk of the tournament is being hosted in with the USA, led of course by Mauricio Pochettino, who's having such a great time leading the US national team that he's interviewing for the AC Milan job.
That's why he was sending out all those emails.
Yeah. Apparently he needs a fucking truckload of fresh oranges to get through this fucking gig. So yeah, they can see how well that's going. Then we have Turkey, who are one of my picks to be dark horses for the tournament. We have Australia, who are there, and Paraguay, who are also there. So Burt, what do you fancy for?
There are certainly teams in the group.
I mean, Aaron Moy is retired from Australia, so ultimately, as a bald man, I don't care about them anymore. Like, I'm sorry, but a footballer that looks like Professor X playing the midfield, I'm fucking sold. You have me. I don't care. Like, so anyway.
Yeah, I suppose taking my women's football hat off, because that would be a fantastic group otherwise.
That's true, actually. Yeah, shit. Go over that.
I would swap Turkey and USA in that lineup.
Okay, so Turkey top, USA second, Australia third.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Let's move on then to Group E, which has Julian Nagelsmann's Germany going up against Ecuador, which, again, quite a good Ecuadorian team, with Ordonez and Pacho center as the heart of the defense. Hincapié and Estepinian as a fullbacks, not bad at all. Moises Caicedo, Boston midfield. Enner Valencia, lads, is still in this Ecuadorian team. He's 37.
How old is he?
He's 37.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Give it up, man.
In this team, would you believe? Again, they do have a couple of like young forwards on the way, a lot of wingers. So they do. A lot of people are kind of tipping them to be an exciting outfit there as well. Kind of helped by the group they're in as well. In fairness, Ivory Coast, you could definitely say the same as well. It's actually the youngest squad in the World Cup is Ivory Coast at the age of 24. I think Nicolas Pepe, I think, is the oldest team player in that squad. I think, or maybe their goalkeeper. I'm not too sure. But yeah, they've got a lot of exciting talent in there as well, like Amad Diallo, Yan Diomande, who is Liverpool bound. So they've got some exciting players there as well. So, Aaron, you take this group. What do you fancy in terms of them going through?
I got a message, so I had to. It was a work message, so just repeat what group we're on there again. Is it
Group E.
the
We're
Germany
in Group E
one?
here. Yeah.
I'm just gonna. I think Germany. By right, Germany should walk this with 3 easy wins and very little goals conceded. The thing is that Germany, for some reason, forgot how to play football since 2012.
Yes.
So
since the last one, the World Cup. Yes.
yeah, so they're very capable of dropping points against Curacao for some reason, and maybe not making it easy on themselves.
Okay.
In saying that, I think they'll still do it. Maybe on goal difference. I think the Ivory Coast will get through in Ecuador as well. I don't see Curacao going. Not ideal when you're already a small nation and
Yeah.
struggling to get there, and then your manager at this point decides he can't. Well, not decides. I mean, there was a good reason why he couldn't do it, but not coming back. It's going to make life difficult for you. I suppose for argument's sake, so we'll just switch to Ivory Coast with Ecuador, so I can just say that I picked something different this time.
Fair enough.
It's the way they're all set up. It's like
it is a seeding. It is a seeding, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going for Ivory Coast to go through then to next round, and Ecuador at hopefully getting through as a third place team. So next then is Group F, and we have the Netherlands, perennial kind of team. Funny enough, I did see that there's apparently an economist, I think a Belgian or a Danish economist, who has successfully predicted the last 3 World Cup winners based on like anything outside of football. So he's got like Argentina, France, and was it fucking Germany? Jesus, like I can't remember my World Cup winners now. But basically, he's got the last 3 right, and he believes that the Netherlands will win the World Cup. He actually believes that the final is going to be Netherlands
I
Portugal.
would love if the Dutch won the World Cup. They deserve a World Cup. They're too big not to have a World Cup. They really do deserve one at this point, just to get something from it. But yeah,
I don't see them doing it. I am gonna flip this group all over the place.
Go for it. Because we have Japan, blue chip team, always fun to watch. Beautiful jerseys, which I think helps with the vibes. And then we got Sweden, who, let's be honest, since Graham Potter has taken charge, holy fuck, totally different outfit. Like, you would not believe that these lads had to get through by the back door of the Nations League to get to the World Cup. Like, it's absolutely insane. They're like a totally different outfit.
He did take over, though. Yeah, he did kind of take over basket here. So they were not in a good place at all.
Sweden were eliminated outright from the World Cup competition. They were gone. They were done. And it was only by virtue of, because they had the playoff system set up, they were one of the best placed Nations League teams to take playoff spots. And that's how Northern Ireland got theirs as well. And Albania, I think. I think Bosnia might have capitalized on that as well. I can't recall. But it was definitely 4 teams that got there because of their... Oh, it was Wales. It was Wales got their other one from the Nations League. So, yeah, so they got lucky there. But again, they've taken advantage of it 100%. So, Burwa, you're promising sweeping changes here. What do you fancy?
Yeah, I'm going to say top of the group, Japan.
Nice.
Second, Sweden.
Ooh.
Tunisia, third.
The Dutch are going to go out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, show your work.
The last few matches I've watched, they've been dirt.
Okay, all right. That will be a hell of a shock, and it's probably I suppose it's the only shock that's actually on for the World Cup draw at the moment. So yeah, I think that's that's a funny one. You obviously don't fancy them to win the World Cup then.
No, but like I'm very, very like regularly wrong on these things. But like this is just my vibes for tonight.
Are you sure you're not just rubbing it in after we beat them 3-2 and then Port de Cuivre during the week? Like, is this you just kind of
I
sticking the boot in?
mean, I keep having to switch
one
off.
side note for Crash. I know, Rachel. What did you just call that stadium?
Parc de Cuivre?
It's Parky Queeve.
Yeah. Oh, Parc de
You
Cuivre.
pronounced it all wrong. Parky
Yeah.
Queeve.
That's my double. That's
Or,
my.
or if you want to be like an annoying person, super value Parky Queeve.
Oh, jeez.
I don't believe in capitalism, Aaron, as you well know. So no. And I will throw in random consonants just to annoy you.
Let's get back to the soccer.
Yes, let's not. Totally different sports. So yeah, okay. So the Dutch are the biggest casualty so far of our groups, which is that those are vibes. I'll take that I'll buy that for $1. To be fair, there's always one calamity in a World Cup, and it might as well be the Dutch this time. It's their turn.
There is. Remember that last World Cup, but there was about 5 straight minutes that the Germans were out.
Yeah.
And the Spanish were out. Oh, that was lovely. That was a great couple of minutes.
Yeah. I just keep going back to the 2002 World Cup and Raymond Domenech's absolute fucking shit show. Like, there's a documentary made about it now. It's phenomenal. It's unbelievable.
No, I wasn't 2002. That was 2006.
2006. You're correct. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah. Because they were actually insufferably good at the 2002. Okay, Group G then. We got the top seed Belgium, who again still have the likes of De Bruyne and Lukaku. They're very much their last rides in terms of the national team. No Courtois, of course, he's injured, so he's missing the World Cup altogether. But they've got decent players coming through. Doku is there. The Calais is there as well. So you've got and a few kind of young centre backs there to take over from Company's kind of role. So they could be good. Egypt. This is Mo Salah's last ride, I presume, unless he goes around again for the World Cup in 2030. And very much is the talisman of the team now at this stage. And of course, Iran, again, also much like Haiti, just there to annoy Trump. So let's see how that goes for them. So for Group G, Aaron, you take this one. What do you fancy? Or do you see it as is?
This is where I'm putting on my buck and half for wrestling. Right, where's the US? So they're already through. So where are they in the thing? Well, they're going to be facing Egypt. Shit. I don't think there's a chance out of Iran can play the US, is there? Unless some sort of miracle happens with both.
No, in fairness, like as it is now, if Iran finished second in Group G, then they would face the US. Yeah.
Then put them second.
Right.
Put the Belgians first and the Egyptians third.
So yeah, in that case, yeah, USA Iran is in the second round. The vibes are going well now. So Group H then, Burpa, this is yours. We got a stupidly young Spanish team going up against a stupidly Bielsa Uruguayan team. Then we got Saudi Arabia and then we got Saudi Arabia and then Cape Verde then scrapping for what is presumably to be third place. So,
yeah, no, I don't see any change in this. But I think Pico to get golden boot of that group, maybe.
I think he's probably gonna like collect some boots. I'd say, yeah, I think he's gonna just loaf a lot of people, to be honest.
I don't see any change in that group. Like it's fairly nailed on, I think.
Cool, fair enough. Just on that point, the Guardian had this wonderful kind of guide to all the players in the World Cup. Considering I'm sharing my screen at the moment, I will show you what they had for Pico Lopez, which is because it's fucking hilarious. There you are here, Group H. There you go. Shirt tucked in is how they describe Pico Lopez. That's what they saw in him. So there you go. Thank you for all the free money, FIFA. So in Group I then we have probably the toughest group of the lot, if we're being honest.
Yeah, group of death.
Yeah,
group of death. I'd say yeah. France, Senegal, Norway, Iraq. Good luck with this one, Aaron. What do you fancy?
France. Do you know what? I'm going to get a bit spicy with this. Norway first, the French second, the Senegalese third.
Wow, that is spicy.
Yeah, I like it.
If the Norwegians manage to not fuck the two easy games of the group,
yeah,
so to speak, and manage to pull some sort of, like if they manage to keep Haaland fit and they don't, and they play him just enough, there's some discontent in that French squad because apparently Dembele said to Mbappe, apparently there was a bit of not a scrap, but more words because he was like, you don't defend too much. I'm not saying it's going to be the 2006 calamity where everyone's going to be having scrap. But it could affect them. So I can see them maybe buckling it against the Norwegians and finishing second. I can see that happen.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw recently that Kylian Mbappe, like, someone asked a question about, like, is he actually that bad when it comes to defensive contributions? So somebody did run the numbers of, like, all footballers worldwide for defensive contributions, and then Kylian Mbappe was second last to a 40-year-old Ecuadorian striker still playing in Ecuador.
Jesus.
That's
God damn it, man.
incredible.
It's not great.
No,
not great at all.
And don't get me wrong, I like, secretly I do believe France is going to win the World Cup, but it's in spite of Mbappe. It is for all the other players around him.
Yeah, so, it'll be one of those things, all right, where, like, if they do end up winning it, it'll be because
of
everything but him.
And
I do love Mbappe, because watching him play is, when he's on his pump, like, again, the last World Cup final, fuck has got a hat-trick in a World Cup final.
Yeah.
He's the second person ever to do it. He's got immense God-given talent. But he's an arsehole.
Yeah.
There's no nice way to put it. There really isn't. But yeah, I love it. Norway top of the group. That is really gonna fuck up the seeding, and I love it. Next up, Jen, is Group J. Argentina, Algeria, and Austria and Jordan. All the A's except for we can call it Jordan, I suppose. So we'll go with that. How about yourself, Burko? What do you fancy?
I'm gonna swap Austria and Algeria.
Yeah. Joe, that's fair enough. I mean, like, Argentina are going to walk that group, in my opinion, but like, Austria and Algeria, after looking at their teams, are two insufferably old teams. Like, they have not changed much from the last two World Cups, to be honest.
Is it Austria's manager as well?
Ralf Rangnick, yeah.
Ralf Rangnick, yeah.
Yeah. Now, they walked the qualifiers. They topped their group. I think they were in the same group as Italy, I think. So they walked the qualifiers, but like I said, like, when it comes to a World Cup, I think they're gonna be very limited. Like, they've still got Marko Arnautovic as their main striker.
Wow.
And David Alaba is still in the team at 34, I think. So it's an old team, and there's not much kind of young, like, exciting players coming through. There's one or two, obviously, but, like, most countries are in that kind of ballpark. Interesting how Argentina is like as well, because that team hasn't changed much either from the World Cup winners. Like, Otamendi's still there, Montiel's still there, DePaul, Messi. There's two starlets there. Nico Paz would be one that could potentially kind of surprise people. Like, that could be his breakout World Cup as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that Austria might bluff their way through to the second place there. Next up then is Group K. We have, of course, Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, and DR Congo. I will be taking an invested watching Congo, because that fella who dresses up as
he's part of the official delegation as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. What's this? What does he dress up as?
Lad, he basically stands during every game with his hand up through the whole game.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually quite impressive. Yeah, him. And he got brought into their official delegation so he could get to the World Cup and do that again, because he wasn't going to be able to afford to get there. So that was quite nice on them.
Yeah. I was trying to find the name of the super fan is he's basically dressed up as Patrice Lumumba, who's Congo's first ever prime minister, and it's kind of like a kind of symbol of, like, democracy in Africa. And he has this, like,
one second there, because Chloe just frightened the fucking life out of me. 1 second.
Go for it. But yeah, he's kind of like a symbol for, like, that. And there was a huge row then at the end of the during the Africa Cup of Nations, because I think it was the Moroccan team or I think it was the Algerian team, I think, and that basically kind of, like, gave him in particular a whole lot of grief for it, and it kind of sparked out a bit of a row between like North Africa and South Africa and all this sort of stuff. It was Algeria. Basically, all kind of like, it was he kind of stands upright in the stands in the pose of the statue, for the entire 90 minutes. And when Algeria played them, it went into extra time and penalties, and he was still standing for those 2 hours. Like,
Jesus Christ, fair play.
Yeah.
I mean,
based on that, I want him to finish third.
Aaron, do you agree? Do you comply?
I could. Do you know what? I'm going to go with another wild card here. Portugal first, Uzbekistan to get through, and Congo. I think Colombia are going to go, because, and I'm just saying this, we'll switch for the sake of it, we'll switch Congo and Uzbekistan. I think Uzbekistan are one of those teams like Ireland was in 1990, where no one knows what they're going to be able to do, and they'll somehow manage to get out of it and possibly as far as the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Holy
Because
shit.
I know they only have one like outright recognizable player,
Mm.
and for some reason I think that might work in their advantage.
It's one of those ones where, like, again, Uzbekistan football is Uzbekistan's national sport, as I believe it. This is their first World Cup, and there is an active, like, kind of state encouragement of trying to get people to play, and like a lot of
Mm.
money going into it. So Kasanov is their kind of one. Their kind of one massive success at the moment. They do have a star striker, I think, that's playing in Italy, I believe. I want to get his name right, so I don't want to butcher it. Yeah, Eldor Shomodorov. He's actually in for Roma at the moment. He's actually
Okay.
I think he's the one that's keeping the likes of Evan Ferguson and the other big lump who I can't remember. That's still there. So he's keeping them out of the team at the moment. So again, they have
Fair
players
play.
coming there that are playing on the continent, playing like high quality football, just all scattered around the place. So yeah, you never know. Again, this is what the World Cup is for, to kind of get surprises. Um, so yeah, we'll see. So apparently Netherlands and Colombia both going out at the World Cup stage here. And then Bertbot, you are tasked with Group L then. But again, by all accounts, quite a tough group for England, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not easy.
no, it really isn't.
I am going to flip Ghana up to second.
Okay. You thinking Semenyo will do some bits there? You think?
Yeah, look, they have a couple of youngsters as well coming through
Hmm.
that have declared for Ghana and stuff like that. So,
Okay,
yep,
fair enough. Great. Okay then. So then we do a quick fire round then for the third place teams. So we're gonna go round the house here. So Aaron, you're gonna pick a third place team, and then Burpa, you do the same. We'll just do them all real quick here. So first
cool.
show for you, Aaron. Who do you think is going from third place teams?
Uh, Egypt.
Okay, Egypt
I
is
think I
one.
think I think Salah might pull something out there and at least get a good showing in the World Cup.
Yep,
Finally.
fair enough. Burpa, you're next.
Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Croatia again. Man's last
Yep.
World Cup.
Modric, yeah.
Modric could do something.
Algeria.
Algeria.
Scotland, I suppose, for the fun of it.
Yep.
Um, Czechia.
Czechia, yeah. Okay, we're down to two more now.
Right, you've already said
Uh,
Uzbekistan, Aaron, will get through.
yeah, I think they'll get into this at least the second round. Yeah,
Okay, so then we have a choice then of either Canada, Senegal, Saudi Arabia, or Tunisia for the last spot.
I'm gonna say Tunisia.
probably. Yeah, I was going to say Canada just because of the other home team. I just don't. I think part of me just doesn't want two out of the three home teams to get knocked out really early, and I would like
True.
them to be in it just a little bit longer. But again, they're not that great, I guess.
Well, do factor in that they are also in a group with Qatar, but also Senegal's in a group with Iraq. So it's a lot of it is going to get
Mm.
into goal difference as well, unfortunately.
Yeah,
This
we'll go
time.
Canada. We'll go Canada.
Okay, Canada it is. So now there's your brackets, lads. So we're going to start at 12 o'clock here and go all the way down. So first match you have to deliberate on is Brazil versus Sweden.
Brazil.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
you going with that,
that's
Aaron?
the
Yeah.
most obvious option. Yeah,
Okay. And they're going to be paired up then with the winner between France and the Ivory Coast.
Love this match. France.
France. Yeah, France would probably do it. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay then. Next up then, we got Mexico versus Ecuador.
Mexico. I
Mexico.
finally break that hoodoo.
Okay
They've
then.
had over.
England versus Uzbekistan.
It's like, I hate to
Oh,
say it, probably England.
yeah.
In fairness, I think England's path gets very, very difficult from this point on. So
Yeah,
yeah. Next up then, Switzerland versus Algeria.
Algeria.
we Algeria. That I guess is the strongest one of the two of them. I don't know any. The only who's Algeria's best player again?
Riyad Mahrez is still in the team.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Let's go with them.
Okay, Algeria it is. Next up then, Portugal versus Croatia.
Portugal.
Yeah,
Portugal. Yeah.
I don't think Aaron's going to say no to more Bruno Fernandes, in fairness. Um,
Nope.
Okay, here's the banter tie. USA versus Iran.
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 It had to be done. It had to be done.
Fuck it. Let's start World War III. Screw it.
Fuck it, let's go. It's fine. Listen, if it's any consolation, he's gonna be dead before that happens, so it's all good. Just willing into existence. Just will into existence. Argentina versus Uruguay as the pair for
Argentina.
that.
Argentina.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for Uruguay at the World Cup. I want them to do well, especially considering there's just something about a mixture of Darwin Núñez and Marcelo Bielsa. How the fuck can that not work?
By the way, there's talks that Liverpool might bring him back.
Yeah, because he's gone for nothing. Yeah. You might get him for a year or two because Ekatike is out for a year. It makes total sense. I'd buy that.
Yeah, why not?
Go, please.
Why not?
Absolutely. Bring back the banter years. I don't care. Next up then, Turkey versus Canada.
I'm gonna say Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey's what yeah, screwed.
Turkey, yeah. Next up then, Belgium versus Czechia.
Belgium.
Czechia.
Ooh, split room.
I just think Belgium will just fuck it again.
Fair.
All the talent in the world, and they'll fuck it again. Because if they didn't win anything with the golden generation, why are they going to do anything now?
I agree with your point generally, Aaron, but also fuck Czechia for making Troy Park cry. So Belgium for me. I'm the deciding vote here.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And next up then, DR Congo versus Ghana.
Ghana.
Yeah, probably Ghana.
Yep. Okay then. Next up then, Spain versus Austria.
Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
As much as I kind of still do like Ralph Rangnick because he was, you know, words will always ring true with my United fans. Yeah, it's they're not that good.
No, let's be
they're
honest.
fine, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. Next up then, spicy ties. We got Korea versus Bosnia.
Bosnia.
Yeah, I voted. I was going to go for Korea, but Bosnia's fine with me. Again, more tunes. I'm happy with that. Next up then, Japan versus Morocco.
Morocco.
Japan.
Split room again.
I think Morocco are going to do it. They'll get deep again this time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go Morocco on this one, but it's harsh that Japan is going to meet them. In fairness, like if they that's one where like top in the group actually conspired against them there. Because otherwise, if it was Sweden, Morocco, I would have picked Morocco there. So, but then again, sure, they're gonna face Brazil then, so they're kind of screwed either way here. In a weird way, they're better off finishing third in that group. Isn't that fucking weird to say?
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Okay, last then is Germany versus Scotland.
The Germans are gonna buckle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go for the fun option. Let's just go with Scotland. Let's just go for the fun option because mainly down to the fact I don't see the hype around Julian Nagelsmann. I never got it. Anyhow, he's connected with United. I just don't understand it. He's probably fine, but again, the Germans haven't been great since 2006.
Yeah.
Was it? No, 10, whatever. The last time they won it, yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. Are we signing off on Scotland beating Germany?
Sure.
I think do it for the fun of it. Yeah.
Oh dear. Right.
Kieran Tierney whipping it in to McBurney's big head.
Yep. We can only hope. Next up then, Norway versus Egypt.
Norway. I think Norway have too much in their squad, and Egypt again. Norway have more players playing at top level in Europe than Egypt do, and their best player has not had a great season, and has left Liverpool now. So, yeah, I think this is probably it for Salah.
Okay,
to be quite honest.
Yeah. I'm happy to sign up
I'm
with
okay
Norway
with
as
that.
well. Unfortunately, I think if Salah just doesn't have enough like strong players around him to back him up in Egypt. Unfortunately, he plays as the actual striker in the team as well, so not even as a winger. So, right then, now we're into the round of 16. Spicy ties, lads. Brazil versus France.
Brazil.
Many a World Cup final.
Brazil, absolutely, 100% Brazil.
Brazil.
Brazil it is. I was actually going to pick France there, but yeah. looks like we're
It's going to get a bit spicy with 10 minutes left, and Ancelotti's going to chew that gum and whip that eyebrow up, and they're done.
And again, Mbappe will do absolutely nothing as a consequence. Mexico versus England.
England.
I was actually going to pick Mexico there, funny enough, but however. So next up then is Algeria versus Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah. Argentina versus Iran.
Argentina.
Turkey versus Belgium.
Oh,
Now,
Turkey.
I suppose to say, if you
Turkey
want,
here.
yeah, I was going to say, because you want Turkey to go far, we'll just pick Turkey, I think.
Well, I was also going with your point that the Belgian team is a little bit overrated at the moment. So yeah, that's what I was going to go for. Barbara, do you have any thoughts?
No, I'm happy with Turkey.
Grant, fair enough. Good Christmas dinner there. Next up then is Ghana versus Spain.
Spain.
Spania, indeed. Next up then is Bosnia versus Morocco.
Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Scotland would only get you so far.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. I mean, Njeko is 40 after all. I mean, like, the man rest. Scotland versus Norway.
Norway.
Now, again, in fairness, even with the seeding there, if Germany played Norway, I'd still fancy my chances there for Norway. So that still works out.
Yeah.
Right, now we're into the quarterfinals. This is tasty. So, Brazil versus Argentina. Or, sorry, Brazil versus England. I was getting my head of myself there.
Brazil.
This could be the one time I think England could beat this Brazil team. You know,
I think, yeah, I
That's
think
a tough
England
one.
are going to do it.
That's a
Big
really tough one.
Gabby versus Harry Kane.
Yeah. But it's not that. It's also the fact that this Brazil team is horrendously top heavy. And I think England, to Tuchel's credit, has actually made it like absurdly well balanced by ignoring the British press, which is the one thing that English manager has not
He
been able
has
to
actually
do.
managed to do that really well, yeah.
Now, again, I don't think they're going to win the whole thing, but I think they're going to get very close. So, yeah, I'm going to go for England here. So, Burpo, you're the deciding vote.
Brazil.
England's out. Thank fuck. Next up then is Argentina versus Portugal.
Portugal.
I'm going to go Argentina.
Argentina.
Yeah. There will be CODs later, and I'll explain why I'm not picking Portugal. Next up then is Spain versus Turkey.
Spain.
Yeah, I think Lamine Yamal is going to come to life here at this stage. Norway versus Morocco.
Norway.
Ooh. I'm going to pick Morocco, so Aaron, you're the deciding vote.
I'm going to pick Morocco as well, yeah.
Okay.
This will be where I think Norway will start to buckle a bit, where the team will just and Morocco have already been to this spot, I guess.
Yeah, they
kind of know where they are. Yeah, they have a bit more experience there, yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be the end of the line for Norway.
Okay.
Right then. So now we're at the semi-finals then. So, Brazil, Argentina. Who have you got?
Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah, I'm outvoted. Brazil it is. Then Spain versus Morocco.
Spain.
Yeah, Spain.
All right then. Third place finish, the après match playoff then. Morocco versus Argentina.
Morocco.
Yeah, so let's go with Morocco. Doesn't fucking matter. Right?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, and then the final, right? So the final then is positioning to be essentially Vinicius versus Lamine Yamal, which is an intriguing setup there. Or do we think, if we're being ultimately romantic, is this the chance for Neymar to win his one World Cup?
Would you believe that I just completely forgot that Neymar was in that squad?
Yeah,
exactly. I was just what I was about to say.
Oh, does Spain do another one?
Now they haven't won the World.
I'm going Spain.
Do you know? Look, I'm going to go with Spain as well, mainly down to the fact that I cannot stomach seeing Neymar lift a World Cup. Because I'd like to make this very clear. If we could go back in time, I have never thought Neymar was as good as everybody else said he was.
To be fair, I think we're all shared in that as well. Yeah.
I've been saying that before he left Santos and joined Barcelona. No, I didn't think he would actually have the career that he ended up doing with it, but that's not because of him having that career, but everybody else around him.
Yeah,
the fact
exactly.
That he went to a farmers league when he was 26.
Yeah. Well, again, that was been kind of demonstrated with what's happened since. Like his body is broken down. He's too much into, should we say, the other bits of football, including his sister. So that's obviously not help matters. But yeah, it's ultimately a sentimental decision to even have him in the team, to be honest with you. So I think that's going to backfire in the end. But look, it could get into the
He
final.
might not even make it either. He might
Well,
not even
no.
make it either.
I think he's just there to be the fucking
so
he's there to be the mascot, to be honest. If I'm being perfectly frank there. But as I said, there's always that kind of statistical thing that, like, depending on different climates and stuff like that, teams from South America always usually do better. But it's I think that's a bit overplayed, to be honest with you. But I'm happy with the way the brackets have worked out here. If any of those four teams won the World Cup, I'd be happy. And even the likes of a France, the likes of a what have we got there as well? I'm missing now Portugal. I don't mind Portugal winning the World Cup, but if I'm transitioning to our Hand of Cod segment here.
This fella Ronaldo is a cod. I don't care what it goes. I mean, you can't do that.
And you seem exceedingly smug about the idea of people, kids particularly.
George Little, he's the guy who ran away and left his wife for a young one.
I have one
I
big
think
reason
that
why
it
they're not going
is.
to. So I'm going to do the Hand of Cods a little bit differently here for this, because this is our World Cup preamble. This is going to be my cod for the World Cup, as in this is the one I'm kind of like say expecting to be the cod for the whole tournament. And my cod for the entire World Cup coming up is Cristiano Ronaldo.
that's fair. It's grand.
It is totally fair, and I think like it's something that we have to kind of like. This is the kind of like the conversation we need to have about Old Yeller type of situation with Portugal. Portugal will not win, and I'm happy to say go on record with this, and feel free to prove me wrong. Portugal will not win the World Cup until Cristiano Ronaldo is out of the team, because he is such a massive inconvenience to work around as a human being and as a footballer, to the extent where he will just refuse to leave. I don't think he will retire until he has a chance of winning the World Cup. Like, get to the final, absolutely, and then burst into tears when you lose. That's great. But he is actively trying so much. He is politicking so hard to get to a World Cup final. If there's an opportunity to fix a World Cup, I think he'll take it, because he's that desperate to be seen as something that he actually isn't. I echo the words of the great Eamon Duffy when I say this fella Ronaldo is a cod. And this is not to do with the fact of his like footballing acumen, his goal scoring acumen. That's always been proven to be very, very good. He scored 1,000. He will likely score 1,000 goals, which will mean something to somebody. But his detriment to him is that, let's be honest with you, he doesn't know what to give up. He's there in a phantom football league. He might well be playing the baller league for all of the matters, because the Saudi league is ultimately a project just to make players feel better about themselves. And that's also part of the reason why I don't think this Portuguese team is as cut out as they are, because a good percentage of them is also still playing in the Saudi league. And when they go up against players that are like actual proper work rate and proper intensity, they're showing up a little bit. So it's a weird mix, because you got players like João Neves and Vitinha and Nuno Mendes who are playing fantastic football for PSG, and they're fresh and they're ready to go. You mentioned Bruno there having the season of his life, playing at United, not necessarily burnt out either. So there's good players here that are going to do good stuff, but everything has to go through this guy, to the extent where he was suspended going into this World Cup. One of the things we've forgotten, he got sent off in the Aviva for
Yeah.
decking Dara O'Shea.
Yeah.
He got sent off. He was going to miss this World Cup, and he fucking lobbied FIFA to get the suspension, suspend. They basically, like, it's almost like a probationary suspension. It's held in abeyance. Just purely at the fact that he was going to miss 2 games of the World Cup. Just 2.
I think obviously Roberto Martinez doesn't have the balls to do this, right?
He's a complete coward. Roberto Martinez is a coward of a football manager.
He is a coward of a football manager. It's short of Belgium. But I think if he somehow manages to find his balls somewhere in Ronaldo's bag, he'd be stupid not to use him as an impact sub.
I think there's another quality of it as well. Yeah.
Like, to me, that's Ronaldo's place in this Portuguese team. If you need someone to come on with 15 minutes to go to get you a goal.
And take a penalty.
And to take a penalty, Ronaldo's your man right now. But he won't, because he's going to continue to start him. And by the time the 60, 78 minute comes along, his legs are shot. He can't do it anymore. And that's where they'll fuck up. I still believe that they're going to still get far in it. I want them to win it just so I can say I've got a World Cup. Bruno Fernandes is a World Cup winner at Man United, because I love stirring shit. And from last week, you were all there. It was very fun. Just to say, I was enjoying myself so much in that. Jonathan can attest to that. I just kept doing it. But it does. But you're right. They probably won't do it until he's gone. And it's kind of a shame in a sense, because Ronaldo's talent probably does deserve a World Cup. Does that make sense? No one deserves it.
I think he probably will be the best player to have never won the World Cup. Actually, no, he'd probably be the second best player to have never won the World Cup, with Johan Cruyff being the first.
Yeah.
You know, like every great player does have a World Cup ultimately to their name. Messi ticked that off the bucket list last time out, and I think that is really burning at Ronaldo. Like, I think if the roles were reversed,
that's pissing him off so much.
And I think
I don't think he'd care that much. Like, if Messi didn't win it, he probably wouldn't have. He'd still want to win it, but Messi winning it before him has really just like fucking boiled his piss for the last 4 years.
There's another angle I want to put forward here, and I think it's probably a little bit more conspiratorial than it led on, because again, the story about Ronaldo has been absolutely kind of pathetic generally, like pleading for his suspension to be to be put off, to be basically just nullified for virtue of the fact that he's Cristiano Ronaldo and he deserves to be at the World Cup. Fuck off. No one deserves anything. Like, if he got injured going into this, he's going to miss the World Cup anyway. So the fact that he's pleading on his hands and knees because a large-headed man from Tipperary annoyed him on a football pitch. Sorry about you. That's football. Don't get wound up.
A large-headed man from Tipperary pissed off Ronaldo so much.
The paddy was mean to me. Tell the paddy to stop. It was like, no, just you're 40 years old. Grow up. But there's also another quality as well. Like, this Portugal team, much like the Liverpool team from the last season, are mourning a loss in their squad as well. You know, they named Diogo Jota on the team sheet for the World Cup, and it's obviously a tribute to him. And a lot has been said. I've only recently seen a clip of Andy Robertson being given a letter by Jota's wife, saying like paying tribute to him and how resolute he's been as Jota's friend. And Robertson's in bits about it, and that's affected his season. That's affected the way he's been playing. I said it before, like the first thing that Robertson said after qualifying for the World Cup, like this is his crowning achievement as a Scotsman, is talking about Jota. And that Portuguese team are going to be feeling the exact same way, except for Cristiano Ronaldo, because he was a glaring omission from Jota's funeral, just didn't attend, said he didn't want it to be a circus. Quite frankly, I don't believe that. I have such a low opinion of Ronaldo as a human being that I don't think he actually wanted to attend it because it didn't involve him. You know, the Jota was just happened to be someone else that was there at the camp, even though they just won the fucking Nations League together. You know, Ronaldo is such a vapid.
No, I know you don't like Ronaldo, and I know he's a vapid human being, and I know he's an arsehole. I'm willing to believe him in that one.
I want to. I want to as well.
It's kind of like if the same thing happened, just for instance, in 2003 when an English player and Beckham had to go along. It's just so much around one player. It probably would have been a little bit of an, because if he went and there was all that stuff around him, people would have complained about that too. Why didn't he go?
But that's
Oh, sorry,
also
why didn't he stay
a
home?
victim of his own of his own hype
Yeah.
and mania around him as well. Is that like he can't even he's not able to even be humble about it. So listen, I agree with you. I say he did kind of pay his stuff in private as well. But again, the Ronaldo circus is solely about him and not about the team. Whereas in this
Hmm.
World Cup, this needs to be if you want to win the World Cup, you have to be a team player, and Ronaldo is not. Everything has to go through him, even if there are by far and away more talented players in that Portuguese squad now than there was at any point. Like Gonzalo Ramos could just be a pressing forward in this Portuguese team, and they would win it by the mid power of their midfield alone. But they can't do that because everything has to go through Ronaldo, and he is immobile as a striker at the moment because he's playing against amateurs on a weekly basis. Give
Have
out.
you seen the clip of him taking a shot at goal with his head during the
Oh,
week?
it went into Rosie. Like it's it's not even funny. It's bad. It's
I
like
think it hit into Gabriel's penalty from last week.
just collided in midair.
Yeah.
No, but fairness, it was a shocking attempt, and like I said, if that's a sign of things to come with Ronaldo, then we are seeing the death of a salesman here. It's not going
I'm
to be
gonna
good.
jump in and
Please
just
do.
on a similar vein with the one player on a team making a balls of it for the rest of his team, and I think it's already started to creep into the headlines now is Mbappe.
Yeah, that's a good pick as well. In fairness, he could be very well shown up at this World Cup.
Um, look, there's like a nickname for him called the Dictator.
Oh, the memes of him going up to people in a dictator outfit is so fun. I know AI is destroying the world, but sometimes there's some good uses for it, and that's one of the good uses for it.
Of all the
um,
people to see, like Mbappe does look a bit like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but I never thought he was going to look like Idi Amin for the next 2 years. Like that, that was not what I
Yeah,
was expecting.
he does look like Idi Amin. Yeah, he does. That is quite good actually. Yeah.
yeah, I don't have too much more to say on that. I just think France have a way of imploding at every World Cup, and I think he is going to be the trigger for that.
Mm.
Mm.
It's a great comparison as well because again, the France have almost a similar issue to Portugal in a sense where they have so much better like informed players around the star than it was the case as well. Like Argentina kind of got away with it in the last World Cup because Messi obviously not at the peak of his powers, but the to his credit, oh my God, Scaloni found a solution, which was to pack in better midfielders to have work rate. That's where McAllister got in, DePaul got into the midfield, and put in that work rate. The kind of, if you like, the proverbial water carriers. France kind of need to do something similar, where they need to put in more defensive work to counteract Mbappe's laziness. And at least with Ronaldo, he is physically like old. Mbappe doesn't have that excuse. He just doesn't feel
You
like it's
know
defensive work is beneath him
that
essentially.
he's basically a region of Ronaldo in the sense that he's got the attitude, right? The
Mm,
thing is with Ronaldo is that by the time he was Mbappe's age, he was a multiple time European Cup winner, a
mm.
multiple time league winner, and was outright, without question, one of the top two players on planet Earth.
Yes, that that
And
that is fair. Yeah.
was a key player for Real Madrid in that whole thing.
Mm,
Mbappe, for all of his talent and the fact that he won a World Cup, he was a big part of a World Cup winning side at the age of 18, is not that. He he might never be that either, which is the
mm.
thing. Um, and I do understand that there's a lot of he obviously has a lot of fans, but it's not the same. I can see why Portugal want to keep on to Ronaldo because he is a generational, like history making footballer. And
Yeah.
Mbappe is not that. And if Didier Deschamps wants to fucking lay down the law again, if he's got the balls to do it, which I feel like he really
He
should
does. In
be,
fairness to
He
one of
Deschamps, he
one,
has
should.
been able
He
to do that.
really should.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
he is
should
able to
really
do
be
that.
telling Mbappe to either fucking get over himself or just get just accept the fact that you might not start every game if you're not going to be being a defensive workhorse. You kind of need to be when wingers these days need
Yeah,
to be defensive workhorses as well. They can't just show up and just stick along the side or barely move past the halfway line. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. Dizzy, yeah, no, I think Burpo, you might be on the ball there with Mbappe. I think it's going to be very intriguing to see again because of the group they're in, he can't really have a day off bar the Iraq game. So it'd be interesting to see how that actually does plan out.
Yeah.
And perhaps your call might be proven to be true in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron, you sign off then with our trio of CODs. What COD are you expecting in this World Cup, either player, manager, or neither?
Do you know what? I don't know. Because, like, there's so much that could happen. You could pick England are going to bottle it and justify all the hate that Tuchel is getting. You could say that Mbappe, again, just said he's going to be fucked. Neymar might not do anything. Messi might be a bit of a shell of himself in this Argentina squad compared to what he was the last time.
Can we go with facilities?
Can absolutely. I mean, like there could
I mean,
be a
you
breakload of
could.
ACLs.
Okay, that's what I'll go with. This is going to have probably this might actually ruin a handful of careers. This might genuinely be the ending for some really insane talent. And not some of the older ones, like your Fernandes or Ronaldo's or Mbappe's. I think some of the younger lads, your Lamine Yamal's and those types of players, because Lamal's already had an injury. Did he already have a bad injury with his hips?
Yeah, his hip
or something.
Yeah. Yamal is not going to feature in like the first round more than likely because he's got pubalgia.
That's what it was. Yeah, so there's a real fear here that they've picked a country that has world class stadiums, but does not have pitches made for soccer.
Yeah, essentially.
They don't, and it's scary because we know what a bad knee injury can do to a footballer. Because the last time was that at the World Cup? Was that 2000? What, Michael Owen? Did he do it at a World Cup or did he do it in preseason?
Preseason, I think. Yeah.
Was it? Well, he blew his knee out and he was a shell of a footballer for the rest of his career. Bar fleeting moments of madness at United and Newcastle and stuff like that.
It was actually World Cup 2006. It was the ACL injury.
Was the actual World? Yeah, I knew it was in the summer, but I couldn't remember when it was. Yeah. So, like, it's a scary thought that we could be coming out of here with like really, really bad injuries to some really good players.
And as well as that, like the conditions, like if anyone has played football, like playing on grass for 90 minutes versus 90 minutes on Astro, you could play the same team 2 nights in a row, whatever, or like. With sufficient rest in between. But the match on the Astro will do more to your joints than you'd actually figure. Yeah. And if they're going from grass to the kind of pitch where they're like, I think was it the Senegal team were trying to bounce the ball, and it looked like
it looked like a waterlogged pitch.
Yeah,
it looks. There's more of a bounce in the AstroTurf pitch that they used to play in Cork.
Yeah,
It's going to be a disaster.
I actually, if I hadn't have picked Mbappe because I was swayed by Jonathan's talk of Ronaldo just ruining it for a team, I probably would have gone with just the kind of organization and facilities of it because, like, things like the transport to get there, like, it's been done to death as far as you probably spoke about it in the intro, like the organization of it all and the facilities. But, like, I do think this is going to cost footballers their careers, like whether it's they don't get the send-off that they want or they're going to go into next season absolutely fucking like
wrecked,
bottom jobbed, like they are. I think they're going to push through to get me. I'm looking at, being selfish here, I'm looking at Saka, who's had a very long season, who has competed, like Arteta didn't really rest him as much as we had hoped he would. He got injured. That's when he got his rest, and then he's probably going to be one of the players that England are relying on. And then he's going to go straight back into being one of Arsenal's most relied on players. That's if he survives this. I think he's had enough niggly injuries this season that I think this could be Saka doing himself an injustice and doing something really bad to himself. And I don't know if you consider him a young player still, but like I do think he has potential to go on and be a world beater, but I don't think he is at the minute. And I think this could do it. Like this is me putting my Arsenal bias hat on, that's a player who obviously I've invested interest in. I want him to do well as a human. I want him to do well for my club. And I feel like him going out to the World Cup is just going to do him damage.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and maybe not necessarily like, okay, yeah, like he's not a young player in a sense, but it's certainly a player that's had a heavy season, and it's especially that kind of,
he's had a heavy couple of years, to be fair.
yeah, he
I
has,
mean,
yeah,
he's played. I've said this. I said this even a couple of years ago. Playing too much football.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's gonna. Your biggest fear with all these players when they play way too much football when they're really good, and when they're really young, sorry, is you play them too much, and by the time they hit 25, the legs are shot.
yeah,
They can't kick a football anymore, and they're basically struggling to get by, and they're getting loan offers from West Ham just to be there
just to get
at
back
the
in
age of
again,
29.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's a fair point as well, because as I said, it is going to just take. It's just going to take one very, very silly like landing, and this is the problem with the facilities, in a sense that they are training in like, for Mexico you could be on beautiful pitches but you're at high altitude, or absurdly high temperatures. In the US and Canada you're working on pitches that are not intended for football, they're there for NFL. Totally different ball game, and you could argue
Yeah.
yourself that even they're not good enough for NFL, which is why they have so many like crippling ACL injuries. But NFL is a totally different beast. They blitz through like players and talent that is only intended there for profit. So they don't really care about the well-beings of the players. It's been well documented that the average career for an NFL player is 3 years, whereas footballers just expect to go for 10, 15. It's a totally
Yeah.
different, it literally is a totally different ball game. And it's not even the fact that like even a slight tackle's not going to do it for you. Like those players are not going to foul each other into an early career. It's going to be a dodgy landing from a jump. It's going to be going for a header and missing.
Yeah.
It's going to be even like the stuff like that what happened to Ekatike is what I'm reminded of. Like he just got his studs stuck in the turf. His leg went, his foot didn't, and he has a ruptured Achilles, which is just as bad, if not worse, than an ACL. That stuff could very well happen on a very regular basis at these matches. So that
Do you
means that the
remember
quality of
that
football is
photo?
going to go down too.
Was it the last Olympics? Was it Gary or was it Pedri? That photo of him looking like a 45-year-old dad after 6 kids.
I think it was Pedri,
And he was
because
only
Pedri was
was it
playing like
Pedri?
90 games that year, I think.
Yeah, 90 games, and he looked absolutely shattered.
Hmm.
And tell me if I'm wrong, when was the last time anyone talked about Pedri?
Mm-hmm.
Or Gavi, for that matter.
But again, two also players that are like they're in the Spanish like World Cup team, in fairness. But again, two players also in bits because they've been overplayed at a young age.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're like, so this is the World Cup that might actually completely, that's it.
Yeah.
The one bad landing away, the one bad slide tackle away, the one bad just positioning themselves wrong with a shot. Like what happened with Ekatike, and their Achilles goes, or their knee blows up,
Yeah.
or a hamstring goes in a way that you're dealing like with, what is it, like a Luke Shaw situation.
Yeah.
Where
absolutely, yeah.
it just, they never really do it again. And you just get one good season every 4 years with Shaw, which is basically what's happened, because it seems to turn into Roberto Carlos every 4 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so it's a dodgy one, and I think we'll see an injury or two, a pretty big one as well, probably within the first 2 rounds.
Yeah,
I would imagine
I think
you're going to lose you're probably going to lose a world beater one in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Really big name. Gone out of the World Cup straight away.
Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, there you go. So we're gonna bag those cods. We're gonna freeze them, batter them, and we'll review that when we get to the latter stages of the competition. So until then, we're gonna leave it here for tonight, lads. First of all, Aaron Burkwell, thank you very much for joining us for this World Cup preview. Hopefully it gets you adds enough to whet your appetite. We will be back here or there to check in with the World Cup as we go along. We're not going to commit to weekly podcasts, but we're going to be in strategic times when there's enough football to talk about, because there are very unsociable times. So we're going to do our best to try and keep track of all the exciting ones. Don't know about you lads, but New Zealand versus Iran in a 2 a.m. kickoff is exactly the sort of filth that I will be avoiding. Like the plague, because I'll be working that day.
I'm gonna try my best to stay up and watch one random match like that.
Well, okay, this is a fun one, right? So Jonathan knows my favorite podcast is Finn versus History, right? And at the moment they're doing a history of the World Cup. On next Friday, they're doing one of the Bosnia games next Friday. They're doing a live stream of that. And they're going to do commentary over it while the game is on.
Okay.
I think that will be a fun one to listen to because A, the two of them know football, but they don't know it that well. And B, you might learn some new Slavic racing insults. You're going to learn some new insults there that you keep to yourself, but you could say to yourself once every so often, it'll be fun. But I think that's the one. That's the one. I've already told Chloe, I'm like, I can't kind of watch this game with them looking at it because that'll be fun. You know what I mean? Like that'll be.
It's very, very possible. It's very, very possible.
Yeah, because they started their podcast with the Italian.
I have to go. My battery's gonna die. Bye.
Thanks, Berklot.
Go on, yeah. But they started the first one was about the Italian basically fixing their first World Cup.
Yeah.
Next one is England 66. Then it's the Maradona handball. And the video they kicked off for that was hilarious. But like in this like weirdly bitter way of still talking about that handball. The way that
not over it. They're still not over it. Yeah.
They're still not over it in that way. It's like I put him up there with the greatest basketball players ever. He was doing stuff on the pitch he's just not allowed to. It's just a clip of Finn Taylor with a bad wig on with his face full of white and it's him just picking up the ball and just firing it at the players and just like doing kicks into the goal and so it's brilliant. It's so good.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's the one I'm definitely keeping my eye on.
Yeah,
that's the
you're in a very Bosnian mood, Aaron. It has to be said. I think you're bought in the Bosnian project. You know,
they're my second team with the World Cup. John, Portugal are my first one, and they're my second one. So I can't wait for that.
Awesome. Well, let's see how well it goes for you. I mean, who knows? They might meet in some point in the tournaments, but I think by the way it works, I think they'll be it has to be the semi-finals at best. I think, but sure, look,
we'll see. Bosnia make it to semi-finals.
I mean, we can all live in the hope, can't we?
That's going to happen.
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah. More. All right then. Until then, guys, we'll see you for the next Liquid Football podcast because all of that was indeed Liquid Football.